Hello, and welcome to Love Conversations with Mayowa. This podcast seeks to bring real-life unsaid issues on dating relationships among young Christian folks and present solutions that ensure a smooth relationship sail, as God will love it for you to have it. So, get ready to come on board with me. Hello, you're welcome to Love Conversations, and I still remain your host, Mayowa. Today, I have a very insightful topic to discuss with you, and it is love or infatuation. Love or infatuation. This is what we will be discussing today. Is there a difference between love and infatuation? How do you know if what you feel for a person is love or you are just being infatuated? What are the signs of love? What are the signs of infatuation? It is not uncommon to confuse these two, that is love and infatuation, as there is no earmarked distinction per se. Therefore, it can be difficult to separate these feelings. You can confuse signs of infatuation with love. You know, when you have all these feelings bubbling inside of you, when you have all these butterflies bubbling inside of you, you know how it can be doing somebody now when you see someone you really like. And it is highly crucial, it is very important to know the difference between these emotions, to know the difference between love and infatuation before you commit yourself into a relationship. As a believer, you need to be able to properly discern between infatuation and Christ-centered love. And love should be the reason for going into a relationship and not infatuation. And this is the reason for today's topic. A simple dictionary definition of infatuation is an intense but short-lived passion or admiration for someone or something. So I want you to hold on to the word short-lived. I will come back to it later. But before then, let us try to go down the memory lane. I want you to think of, or I want you to imagine a point in your life, probably when you were growing up or when you were in school, that you had someone you had a crush on. You know, that very handsome boy that had killer dimples, that had a very lovely smile, or that very beautiful lady who makes your heart skip a bit whenever you set your eyes on her. You know, they smile at you, you smile back at them, and you feel intensely attracted to them, no doubt. And this often comes with a whole lot of feelings. You know, you always want to see them often, you always feel anxious whenever they are around, you are always happy, you always have sweaty palms, you always get to stutter or stammer whenever you get to talk to them, and at the same time your heartbeat would skyrocket. You just wouldn't get yourself all together. What then triggered the attraction you had for them? It's just because of their physical attribute, because they are fine and you liked what you see basically, and this we tagged as crush, and it is actually infatuation. It is not love. And oftentimes we get so fooled by these emotions and we think that we are in love really, but this is not love. These are just signs of infatuation. Crush is infatuation. And the reasons or the triggers of infatuation are many. They're often triggered by some desires, and some of which are the urge to, have what it feels like to be in a relationship. Probably while in school, most of your friends already had boyfriends, and they come to you, they talk about their experience, they tell you how it feels like, they tell you how things have been going in their relationship and all of that. They paint the picture so beautiful, and then you start to create the desire in your heart to actually get a feel of how it is to be in a relationship. And then you just begin to notice a boy in your class, and you begin to notice his nose, you begin to notice his fine face, you begin to notice his height, how that is tall, dark, and handsome, and all of that. you begin to get yourself infatuated with him. And then chemicals are released in your brain, hormones are released just based on the feeling you had to be in a relationship. The extreme need to fall in love is another trigger, and the urge to satisfy a sexual desire. So all of this, the brain interprets to produce a whole mix of chemicals and hormones, which I said earlier, that cause the feelings surrounding infatuation. I told you earlier to hold on to the word short-lived. Infatuation is short-lived. It does not last long. And most often it is the physical appearance, which is superficial, that is given priority. The fine face, the dimples, the eyes, the nose, the hips, And since it is short-lived, with time, as you get to know this person, as you get closer to this person, you start to see their flaws. You start to see that the very beautiful lady you fell for actually, maybe, I'm just saying, doesn't know how to cook. And then those feelings, those euphoric feelings you had for them begin to dissipate. Or the very tall, dark, and handsome guy you had so much butterflies in your stomach for doesn't know how to construct a simple grammar. When you start to see their flaws, the feelings will begin to dissipate, and the butterflies they'll be flying away one after the other. And then you just find out that you are no more attracted to them anymore. And what happens next? You will serve them breakfast. Or if you don't have the mind to do that, you may now begin to do things that would make them feel they are not wanted in the relationship, and with that they would eventually be the one to break up with you. And then you'll be happy, what you actually wanted had happened. So you then begin another journey of finding someone else, getting infatuated with another person, and then when their flaws also begin to surface, you would leave the relationship. And this goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And now when you now eventually get it right, you now be counting up to 20 relationships that you had gotten yourself into based on infatuation. So in order to avoid this, you really need to know the difference between love and infatuation before you commit yourself into a relationship. It is very important you strike a line between these two, because like I said earlier, they can be very difficult to separate. It is confusing, like placing a line between these two feelings, and it will really help you if you can draw the line between love, and that is the Christ-centered love, the Christ-centered relationship, and infatuation. As a believer, every romantic relationship you venture into must be looked through the lens of marital. You must always have marriage in view. I've been saying this on and on and on and on. Marriage should always be a guiding principle for you getting into a relationship. So see it as it would lead to marriage. And this should tell you that getting into a relationship via infatuation is a no-no, because it doesn't last. And that is not the ideal plan of God for us. Remember, infatuation is short-lived. Therefore, any relationship that is built on this cannot lead to marriage. It just cannot lead to marriage, because it is not the ideal plan for believers. All the sparks, all the butterflies will die in a moment of maybe 3 months maximum, if not weeks. As you rush into it is how you would rush out. So you must not leave your life to chance. Consider this as a gift from me to you. Date for the right reasons and through the right emotions. It will help you. Do not enter into a relationship based on infatuation. Do not mistake love for infatuation. Learn to identify the signs of infatuation, as this will help you understand your feelings better. And one thing you need to do is to examine where your attraction stems from. Why are you drawn to this person? Know why you are drawn to this person. That will really help you. So quickly, I would brush you through the differences between love and infatuation. And with this, you would be able to understand your emotions better, and it will really help you in your relationship too. I just need you to follow me intelligently, pay attention, and do not miss any point. Thank you. So, infatuation is usually driven by emotions and selfish desires, and the feelings that come with it is usually fleeting. Everything you do is based on how you feel or how the other person makes you feel. You are excited, high when you get all the attention you desire from them. But then what happens when you do not hear from them? You get so devastated, you get furious, you start to have the feelings of you not being good enough for them. You start feeling insecure, probably they are with someone else and all of that. If you feel that way, that means you are infatuated with the person. Also, if you get to see them with someone, if they get to give their attention to someone more than they do to you, you begin to get all angry at the fact that you are not getting enough of them. Also, when you see yourself overly obsessive, this one is even devilish. When you see yourself overly obsessive and overly possessive of someone, that is a sign that you are infatuated. You get easily jealous when you see them with anyone or anything that demands their attention. You cannot stop thinking about them. You cannot stop having thoughts of them, what you would like to do with them, and all of those stuff. And their relationships with other people become a threat to you. However, love, on the other hand, is driven by a deep sense of conviction. It's driven by commitment. It is consistent and unwavering. Love is not obsessive, neither is it possessive. Their relationships are not threats to your own. You are happy to even see them have their close friendships. You are happy to see them with their families. Like, even if you don't feel like it anymore, even if there are no sparks at that moment, there are no butterflies at that moment, you don't feel like it anymore, you still love them. You still want to stay. Love won't waver just because your partner said something that hurt you, or forgot to do something, or forgot to chat you up, or forgot to call you. That doesn't affect the way you feel for them. That doesn't affect your commitment to them. I so much love how Message Translation describes love in 1 Corinthians 13 from verse 3 to 7. It says that love never gives up. Love cares for others more than for self. So in this case, you would always care for your partner more than yourself. Love doesn't force itself on others. It is not obsessive. It is not possessive. Love doesn't have a swelled head. Love looks out for the best, and it never flies off the handle. There won't be a point where love would say, I am not doing again, or I don't feel like it anymore, and then it quits. Love is driven by commitment and not by feelings, not by emotions. Infatuation tends to happen very quickly, like what some people may tag as love at first sight. Like, immediately I set my eyes on you, I didn't know how my body was doing me. Like, my body was just doing me kish, my body was doing me somehow, and all of that. And I feel I'm in love with you, And it often involves strong attraction. You just get extremely attracted to this person, and all of the thoughts you have are always about them. You always get to think of them all the time. You lose concentration and you tend to focus more on them. Sometimes you won't get to be yourself whenever you are with them. Your whole life is just focused on them and them alone. However, love is much more deeper. It involves a deeper experience of knowing someone fully. So you get to know this person well enough. You get to know them well. You take your time to bond with them. You take your time to get to know them. You care about them in a way that is not centered around how they make you feel. Even if they do things that upset you, or they do things that hurt you, that doesn't still affect the way you feel for them. That doesn't affect how you relate with them. You just love them despite the fact of you knowing that they are imperfect, or they have a whole lot of flaws and all of that. So love requires some knowledge about the person, and this takes time. It doesn't happen quickly like infatuation does. It develops out of a real knowledge of the person's character, and then as you get to know the person better, it becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. Also, infatuation is temporary. It doesn't last long. I said this earlier. It doesn't last long. It is short-lived. And it comes up mostly when you get to set your eyes on the person, when you start to get to know them and into the relationship, and dissipate as soon as you get to know the person better. Maybe when you begin to see their flaws, when you begin to see their imperfections, and every other thing that could make you utter the statement, I never knew you were this way, or I never knew you were like this. However, love on the other hand lasts long. It doesn't happen in a rush, but it unfolds incrementally. It is something that grows with time as you get to know the person. Even as you both grow together and you begin to see their flaws, you still love them for who they are. So love is long term. I feel the need to make something clear here, and it is that most relationships start off on a healthy form of infatuation. I said healthy form of infatuation, and I will explain. You begin to like this person based on something you saw, maybe the way they look, or the way they smile, the way they walk. Something which shall attract you to that person. And then it is healthy in the sense that as the two of you begin to get to know each other, as the two of you begin to build your relationship on love, which of course is built on some real knowledge you have for the person, and some real knowledge your partner has for you as well. It gives way to a relationship that is based on trust and respect, instead of an obsessive or possessive attachment as seen in infatuation. Also, you should judge the feelings you have for someone. You should weigh it on the scale of whether they are in line with God's given standards for a future partner or not. Knowing this will help you discern whether you should build your relationship with this person or not. And what are the major standards for a believer in selecting a future partner? Get to know if they are saved. Are they saved? Are they committed to God? The Bible says that do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So if the person is an unbeliever, then it is not it. So do not allow your hormones to play in your head. Just cut those feelings off. All in all, infatuation is not a sign for a healthy relationship. Infatuation is not a building block for a godly relationship. God does not want that for us. And I believe that with everything I said, you've been able to sort your feelings. You've been able to place a line between love and infatuation. And you already know the right thing to do. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's podcast. I believe you've learned one thing or two. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. Thank you so very much for always tuning in. I do not take you for granted. Please do well to share the link of this podcast to your friends and your loved ones so that they would be able to connect and also learn from this. You can also follow Love Conversations on Instagram at The Love Conversations. You can connect directly with me as well on Instagram at mayomiwa.adediron. It's a wrap. Till I come your way again next week with another insightful episode, always remember that God loves you so very much and wants the best for you. God has blessed you.